good evening. This is GBC24 and GTV, and it's time for News Hour. My name is Yoko Kaputre.
And I am Micheline Taka.
Well, in the headlines, please help us reclaim our encroached lands. Ghana Irrigation Development Authority cries to the government.
African cashew farmers meeting in host 6 ways to improve production and marketing of cashew.
A Nigeria Trade Union Federation to resist 66% increase in petrol prices.
Now to our first story, private individuals, estate developers and most recently Fulani herdsmen have encroached on vast portions of the land belonging to the Irrigation Development Authority at Dowenya in the Greater Accra region.
The scheme manager, Mr. Benedictus Agbeku, told GBC24 at the irrigation site that several efforts have been made to recover the encroached lands, but to no avail. He appealed to the government and the security agencies to assist the Irrigation Development Authority regain its lost lands. The Dowenya irrigation scheme site was acquired by the government in the 1970s for vegetable and rice cultivation to cater for people in Tema and Accra. According to the scheme manager, Mr. Benedictus Agbeku, out of the total of 2,800 hectares of land acquired, only 450 hectares were developed. 200 hectares have been under rice cultivation with about 270 farmers working on it. The rest of the land, which was earmarked for future development, has been seriously encroached upon by private individuals. Estate developers are the latest encroachers on the land.
At the moment, the latest one we are discussing, that's why we are meeting with the leaders, is that some Fulanis is believed are coming from Agogo, are now settling at the canal. We call that place Canal A. And that is the place the government has now planned to put greenhouses, greenhouse technology, so that we can use the minimum amount of water to irrigate and have plenty out of it.
The Director of Development of the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority, GIDA, Engineer Stephen McLean, said the authority has made many efforts to retrieve the encroached lands.
We got the military to support us to ward off the encroachers by something that we couldn't sustain because we have to buy fuel, lunch and a whole lot of things. We are a solvented organization, so we cannot sustain this. Now we've gone to keep off his government property. We have placed notices, but still to no avail. Now we got the district assembly, that's the Ningo Pampam people, their West Department could get involved, but still we couldn't solve the problem. It's something which is above us. Now we've got the Lands Commission, the Survey and Mapping Division of Lands Commission to redemarcate our boundaries for us. They will seek some funds from government to see whether we can do some demolition.
The scheme manager, Mr. Benedictus Agbeku, said GIDA is ready to develop the land and make the Dowenya irrigation site more productive if the encroached portions are recovered.
We have people coming in, private investors, because of the PPP concept. Private investors coming in, and then some are producing vegetables. We didn't used to produce vegetables, but we are now trying to introduce vegetables onto the scheme. And then we have other private investors from Holland producing flowers, and it's very interesting. They produce and then they export. They sell some locally, and there are more investors coming in to have something done to produce. And if we have the land and we can provide the water, they are welcome.
Apart from ensuring food security, the Dowenya irrigation scheme has provided employment to many indigents of the area. Coal energy is to be added to the country's energy mix by 2019. If successful, the country's main energy provider, the Volta River Authority, is expected to increase the total amount of power generated to 2,000 megawatts. The coal project is a joint venture between the VRA and the Chinese firm Shenzhen Energy Group. The managers of the project said the first phase has been estimated to cost $1.5 billion.
Sustainable power supply has been a challenge for Ghana for years. The country currently relies on renewable energy sources, but experts say it needs other sources of energy to meet rising demand. According to the VRA, 2.5 hectares of land are needed to generate just 1 megawatt of solar energy, which when allowed will compete with farmlands. Whole source of energy has therefore been decided as a better option for the country. Based load electricity, for instance, which is the cheapest and unrestricted fuel, is produced from coal sources. The coal source is also less expensive. In an interaction with the media, the Director of Environment and Sustainable Development at the VRA, Engineer Theophilus Nyokai, said the country has a responsibility to put measures in place to secure sustainable power for the next generation. The coal project will be in 2 phases. Phase 1 is scheduled to be completed by November 2019. The technical manager at the Abuazi Power Plant, Engineer Jacob Brown-Yossen, and the Environmental and Social Impact Manager, VRA, Mr. Ben Saki, explained the coal power production process to journalists.
Whatever you are going to do in the second phase will also depend on the technology to be adopted. This particular one we are using supercritical. In the presentation, we said in the second phase we could use ultra supercritical. But what we are saying now, the 1.5 billion part is for the construction of the port and the road network.
They said a safety technology associated with power generation. The coal project will be sited at Abuanu near Otuam in the central region.
We have our corporate social responsibility program that we develop with the communities themselves. For example, at Abuaze, we built a coal store for them because that's what they asked for. We are going to expand it to Abuano, Ekunfi area, and make sure that there's this mitigation, there's this program that will take care of all the social things that may be required after the project has been completed.
The project managers emphasized that the coal source of energy is coming to support the existing power sources and not to replace them.
Government says it is on course to meet the UN's goal of supplying clean and good drinking water to the people by 2025. The Minister for Water Resource Works and Housing, Dr. Kweku Agyemang-Mensah, gave the assurance when he inspected the $165 million water project at Winneba and Isachiri in the central region. The project is expected to be completed in July this year, and it is designed to supply 3 million gallons of water daily.
Water, they say, is life. Yet, this commodity is often in short supply, making life unbearable and difficult for people. Currently, Accra alone has a water deficit of 57 million gallons per day. The government has been responsive to the situation, leaving no stone unturned to make potable water available and accessible to all. Inspecting some water projects in the central region, the Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing first visited the Winneba Water Project. The facility here is currently undergoing rehabilitation and retrofitting. The 250-meter cube reservoir is a new addition to the facility which will boost water supply to the people of Winneba and its environs. The Minister, Dr. Kweku Agyemang-Mensah, encouraged the contractors, ADA Group, to work faster.
President John Dramani Mahama is determined that by 2025, every Ghanaian, no matter your location, should have access to good drinking water. The ministry is therefore implementing a lot of water projects. One example is the Odan Akwatia Winneba water project. Work is progressing steadily, but it is the Winneba one that I'm not that comfortable with, because it's about 65% complete, and I think they can do better. So I've invited the Ghana Water and the company and the consultants to the ministry for us to have a discussion as to see how best we can expedite action to make sure that this project is completed before November.
The resident engineer at the Winneba Water Project, Engineer Evans Nogbe, assured the minister they would work hard to complete the project on time.
In about 2 months, we should complete this particular tank. That's bearing any unforeseen circumstances like unavailability of the pipes and others. But if the materials are available within 2 months, we should complete this tank.
The team later visited the Sachire Water Supply Project to assess its level of progress. The fully automated treatment facility here is 40% complete. It currently produces 4,000 gallons of water a day and will be fully completed in 6 months. The chief of Goboa and Tiadze, Nana Amwasa Boabeng Otaba, appealed to the minister and the Ghana Water Company to consider renaming the project to reflect its location.
150 tractor operators, technicians and mechanics have undergone skills training to efficiently handle agricultural equipment and machinery. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture and a firm based in the Czech Republic organized a training program as part of measures to reverse the rate of breakdown of agricultural equipment due to the low skills level of tractor operators and mechanics.
Agriculture is Ghana's economic backbone. It feeds the people and also serves as a source of raw material for industry and foreign exchange earnings for the acquisition of basic needs. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture, in its quest to modernize agriculture in the country, recently imported 250 units of Cabrio compact agricultural tractors with multi-purpose accessories from the Czech Republic for distribution to farmers in Ghana. The importation of agricultural machinery over the decade, however, has been challenged by regular breakdown and mishandling due to low skill level of the operators and mechanics. It was to ensure proper handling of the equipment that the training program was organized. The Czech ambassador to Ghana, Magita Fusora, the chief director at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mr. J.K. Boama, and the director, Agric Engineering Services Directorate of the Ministry, G.K. Brantio, were those in charge of the training.
And this is not only that we are bringing tractors to upgrade your agriculture sector, but also we were listening to your needs. And also we are bringing every year specialists from the Czech Republic to train your farmers and also to listen to their needs, and then we are going to upgrade our cooperation on the highest level.
Cashew industry operators from dozen African countries have been meeting at Ho in the Volta region to fashion out ways to increase production and marketing of the crop. The program is to promote the cashew value chain, which follows the numerous challenges facing cashew farmers, especially in Africa. The aim is to provide options to improve the industry.
Cashew nuts are said to be highly nutritious with vitamins and minerals such as phosphorus, magnesium and iron essentials for hemoglobin formation. Currently, 28 countries produce cashew nuts globally for export and domestic consumption. Records show that Vietnam is the world's highest producer of cashew, followed by India, Nigeria and Brazil. In Africa, cashew is produced in Côte d'Ivoire, Guinea-Bissau, Mozambique, Benin, Kenya and Ghana. In Ghana, about 70,000 tons of raw cashew nuts are produced annually. The forum for stakeholders in the cashew nuts value chain from 12 African countries was to brainstorm and come up with ideas to boost the industry. The policy advisor of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Mr. Frederick Alihui, disclosed that the Ministry of Trade and Industry is working towards the establishment of a cashew development board.
Ghana's industrialization hinges on the processing of cashew. For the creation of jobs, for value chain addition, and to take advantage of the big prospect to earn foreign exchange in the global market.
The Volta Regional Director of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mr. Samuel Labi, said the ministry is working to increase local cashew production from 70,000 to 150,000 tons over the next 10 years. An official of the Competitive Cashew Initiative, Rita Wedenga, urged participants to share ideas in order to bridge a gap in the various segments of the value chain.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has petitioned the President through the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations to resolve the impasse between the workers and the Chief Executive of the Cocoa Board, Dr. Stephen Opuni. The ICU and Agricultural Workers Union GAU wants the Chief Executive to step down.
Members of the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union (ICU), the General Agricultural Workers Union (GAU) held placards, some of which read "Corruption at Cocoa Board" and "Sharp Decline of Cocoa Industry" under Dr. Opuni. The workers are expressing their displeasure over the shutdown of the West African Mills Company (WAMCO) and the alleged corruption at Cocoa Board. The Chief Executive of Cocoa Board, Dr. Opuni, is alleged to have illegally contracted a retired employee of the company, Mr. Hassan Idris, to transact business on behalf of the company when he is not qualified to do so. The workers say the issue has led to mass transfer of members of staff who either questioned the CEO's directive or refused to join the union.
By the directive of the president, when he was in Takrady, said he was in talks with Dr. Stephen Opuni to see how these WAMCO issues could receive some resolution. Letter came from the chief of staff, meeting was arranged. He never attended the meeting and nothing actually happened, leaving the workers to their fate. As we stand now, we are asking the ministry, what is the way forward for WAMCO workers for 28 solid months be in the house? If government feels that it has no interest in WAMCO, we are saying WAMCO can be managed by Ghanaians, WAMCO can be run by the workers of WAMCO, because it has happened before. Are we looking on our own soil? Should we have control to be slaves in our own soil? We want the president to act. It is about time for the president to act. Failure to act, we as workers, we shall advise ourselves.
The Deputy Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Mr. Baba Jamal, who received the petition on behalf of the President and the Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, assured members of the ICUs that the issue would be given the necessary attention.
The Minister assigned me to be part of the negotiation, and so I have a lot of information about WAMCO. I can only say, and I can assure you, that this your issue is not something we are going to sleep on. From now, we are going to confer with all the authorities that be, and we assure you that there will be solution is in sight.
The workers later converged on the premises of the Trades Union Congress (TUC), where leadership of the ICU announced that the next line of action would be a nationwide strike if government fails to address the issue.
The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, has donated medical equipment and educational materials to some hospitals and schools in the Jumro district of the Western region.
Education and health are very essential in the growth and development of any country. Ghana's successive governments have over the years invested heavily in the two sectors, but the equipment in health facilities are being overstretched by growing numbers at the same time that some schools need additional supply of materials. The wife of the Vice President, Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur, has been supporting deprived institutions in the country. In the latest gesture, the Axim Government Hospital and 5 schools benefited from her benevolence. The Western Regional Minister, Mr. Paul Evans Edu, commended Mrs. Emisa Arthur for her support to the institutions.
This assembly, traditional council, any among for more district mining companies in say, and festival and was a duswa. Many company Okotompa Bwani and Tumano de Ache in Ananum, but 20 say, oh, Yegmao is my east. Now also a crab, or Professor de Bois, Mr. Beto Beshit, Yama Hospital, and Beto Books at Yama School.
Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur was happy the hospital had taken proper care of the equipment she had donated to it earlier. She advised parents and teachers to continue to support the education of the children to the highest level.
Yearly politics and the two may have Emma enne benyanwole wo nzamobo nanso yetakori yenyuru. Eso okiye nwike yeli politics nzia onbaya ngol kebiala. Kechi ya tora. Miemo veya. Miemo se bandu ba ma ya ekpan. Miemo se ye ma biala anzulu ngedwe. Na mepya kala ke ane yekaka yewu. Ye mabasa ba. Na ke ya tora ne ye miezake. Mare a. Wan ne aba adna azoro ye bu mare ho.
Management of the Axim Hospital presented a Mother's Day gift to the wife of the Vice President. Mrs. Matilda Emisa Arthur presented some medical supplies to the Hafasini Government Hospital. She also visited the newly completed VIP ward of the hospital. The hospital administrator thanked her and promised that the equipment would be put to the intended use. He, however, appealed for support for the VIP ward of the hospital.
The Progressive People's Party, PPP, announced on Thursday that it will officially outdoor its presidential candidate, Papa Kwesi Indum, in July in the run-up to the November polls. The chairman of the party, Ni Alotebru Hammond, told newsmen in Accra that the PPP is also set to unveil its 10-point agenda, which seeks to achieve positive transformation in the country.
Yesterday, we approved and confirmed the nomination of Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum as the flag bearer of the party. The National Secretary reported that when the nomination process closed on December 31st, 2015, Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum had been the only candidate that had filed to contest the presidency. We went on to approve the agenda to hold our national convention on July 16th, where Dr. Papa Kwesi Indum will accept the nomination as the flag bearer of the Progressive People's Party. Our focus on 2016 election is to ensure that we have seats in Parliament. So we will launch this parliamentary campaign door-to-door, village-to-village, for those candidates that have been confirmed by the constituencies. We will also have the opportunity as a party to highlight our manifesto. Our manifesto that we have presented to the public as a 10-point agenda that we expect the public to hold us on the 10 points that we believe that are critical to the success of the nation. We will be on the ground with our parliamentary candidates, with our presidential candidate in August, September, and October to ensure gain access to the Flagstaff House.
You're watching News live on GBC24 and GTV. We're taking a short break. Business is next.
Hello, good evening and welcome, and we are grateful to have you join us for some business update. I'm Dorothy Ajimai. The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations says youth unemployment in the country poses a threat to national security. Haruna Idrisu has therefore called for a paradigm shift in employment creation from the public sector to the private sector as a way of solving the challenge.
Improving employment prospects of the youth is one of the major development challenges facing countries globally. Ghana is no exception. Over the years, the total number of youth population in Ghana has increased from 1.1 million to 3.5 million. This constitutes about 22.6% of economically active population. Reports show that a large number of the youth population can present an economic boost due to their labor force potential. However, this requires opportunities for their inclusion in the labor force, which can be achieved through the acquisition of relevant skills set to meet the labor market demand.
To this end, the World Bank has organized a forum to collate views on how private and public sectors can work together to create employment opportunities for the youth and to identify the constraints that limit private employers from hiring young people, as well as those that limit the youth to create businesses. The Minister for Employment and Labour Relations, Haruna Idrisu, said that government would create an enabling environment for the private sector to thrive in order to provide jobs in Ghana.
As critical as civil society may be of government and its development partners in rationalizing labor, we cannot rationalize labor if the employment was generated by the private sector. So it tells you that let the public sector play its primary role as an enabler in providing congenial atmosphere for the private sector to be able to deliver on their jobs.
Ms. Madalena Honorati of the World Bank gave an overview of the Ghana labor market.
What we see is that most all the working age population work, so but the problem is the quality of jobs, that the majority of which are informal, are in the self-employment sector or the household enterprises. However, the challenge ahead still remain in increasing the productivity of these jobs, especially among the self-employed, which now represent the biggest share of the workers in Ghana.
Officials of the World Bank hope to address the job challenges among the youth and the role of government in supporting the private sector to create opportunities for young people.
GCB, Ghana's leading indigenous bank, has opened another branch at Amasamang in the Greater Accra region. The new branch adds to the bank's 160 branches across the country.
GCB Bank, formerly known as Ghana Commercial Bank, has over the years served Ghanaians with diverse products and services to give them a different experience in banking. Since its inception in 1953, GCB Bank has introduced products such as current accounts, savings accounts, fixed deposits, electronic banking, 24-hour personal loan for salaried workers and overdrafts. A recent addition to the bouquet of products is the GCB Light Pay, which allows merchants of all types to accept card payments anytime and anywhere. In an effort to continuously bring such services and products to the doorsteps of its cherished potential and existing customers across the country, GCB Bank has opened a new branch at Amasamang in the Ga West district of the Greater Accra region. The branch is the latest to be inaugurated this year after the Hacho branch, which was opened in January. The new addition is in line with the bank's next phase of rebranding program, where all its branches across the country will be remodeled and new branches opened to inject modernity while improving service delivery. The acting managing director of GCB Bank, Mr. Samuel Sapong, was optimistic that the bank's presence in Amasamang will bring a change to the lives of residents in the community.
Our presence in Amasamang is in recognition of the key role the town and its environs are playing in the national economy. While it offers strategic residential habitation for individuals within close proximity to Accra, there is a business boom which requires professional and experienced banking services to thrive, and GCB is here and ready to provide it.
The Municipal Chief Executive of Ga West, Mr. Sam Atukwe, was grateful for GCB Bank's presence in Amasamang. He added that the bank's existence will curtail the distance of traveling from Amasamang to neighboring towns to transact banking operations. He urged the bank to take security serious in their operations. The management of GCB Bank say henceforth inhabitants and travelers who ply the route from Accra to Amasamang can now have the services of GCB Bank at their disposal.
While Ghana on Thursday announced a 10.4% increase in profit from 20.1 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 22.2 million Ghana cedis in 2015, the company at the moment holds 17% of the market share, the biggest so far among the oil marketing companies in the country. At its annual general meeting in Accra, GOIL declared a dividend of 0.025 pesos per share for the 2015 financial year. The chairman of the board of GOIL Ghana, Professor William Asumening, announced the decision by GOIL to reinvigorate its efforts to supply bitumen to contractors.
Ghana Oil Company Limited, GOIL, is one of the major players in the oil marketing industry with over 50 years in operation. The company currently holds the biggest market share of 17% among 85 oil marketing companies in the country. It has more than 260 fuel stations across the country, supplying products such as GOIL Super Trotro, GOIL Super Taxi, Ajib Super Motor Oil, Diesel XP, Premix, among others. GOIL also provides aviation fuel as well as bunkering services. In 2015, GOIL's LPG saw 6% increase, while lubricant sales went up by 12%. Gross sales increased from more than 1.6 billion in 2014 to more than 2 billion Ghana cedis in 2015. Profits before tax increased from more than 27 million in 2014 to over 32 million Ghana cedis. Gross profits increased from more than 88 million Ghana cedis to over 110 million Ghana cedis. The board chairman of GOIL Ghana, Professor William Asumenin, said the company decided to declare a dividend of 0.025 to its shareholders.
The company intends to establish itself in every district. The name must be a household one, and GOIL should be associated with quality products and excellent service delivery. GOIL will continue to extend its operations to the upstream business, providing other services apart from bunkering in the upstream service sector is an intermediate goal. The company also aims at improving other services such as electronic card payments, this GOIL Advantage card, to attract more customers.
The managing director of GOIL Ghana, Mr. Patrick Akoli, indicated that GOIL is making huge investments in its operations to make the company a market leader in the industry.
There's a very aggressive competition going on out there, and GOIL cannot afford to stop investing now. So we're just appealing to shareholders that there are better times ahead. We are changing the face of our retail outlets. We have done a lot of renovation and then rehabilitated the old ones. We are building new ones. We are acquiring new ones, entering into joint venture partnerships. So, and we've been able to increase our stock from 165 3 years ago to about 250 now. So you see the massive investment we are talking about.
GOIL recently launched its rights issue to raise 155 million Ghana cedis. Proceeds from the offer will be used to expand the current retail outlets, acquire a bitumen plant, and expand its bunkering facilities at the Takoradi Harbour.
You're watching the business segment of the news, and on the interbank market, the pound sterling traded at 5 cedis 51 pesos. The US dollar also traded at 3 cedis 80 pesos. The figures up now. And in insurance news, the managing director of the Metro Mass Transit, Mr. Al-Hassan Legbi, says passengers on board any of the company's buses are fully covered by insurance. Public transportation plays a huge role in reducing congestion. Additionally, it plays an important role in helping people commute to work. Majority of all trips on public transportation involve travel to and from job sites and create and support thousands of jobs.
The transportation company in Ghana. The company was set up to provide reliable and affordable means of transport for commuters within villages, towns and cities, as well as provide intercity movement. Recently, one of the company's buses was involved in an accident in which more than 40 people lost their lives. One critical issue that came up at the time was whether the Metro mass transport fleet of buses have insurance cover. The managing director of the company, Mr. Hassan Libi, has told GBC24 every bus operated by the company is covered by insurance.
All our buses are insured. We have an insurance company being a shareholder of our company. That is SIC. So all our buses are insured by SIC.
He added that all passengers on board the buses are covered by the policy and would be properly compensated in case of accidents. The management of the Metro Mass Transit say they are poised to deliver the best of services and ensure passenger safety.
The insurance news was brought to you by FPAC. We do appreciate your company.
Back. This is the health segment brought to you by FPAC. My name is Evans Echampon. Now, the second edition of the Medical Excellence Awards has been launched in Accra. The awards will appreciate and motivate healthcare professionals who provide quality healthcare and go the extra mile to help patients and their families. We apologize for the hitch there. The second edition of the Medical Excellence Awards has been launched in Accra. The awards will appreciate and motivate healthcare professionals who provide quality healthcare and go the extra mile to help patients and their families.
Healthcare professionals are a key component of the health system. Their role in society is highly regarded since they deal directly with human life or animal life, as the case may be. On a number of occasions, various categories of these professionals have embarked on strike actions to back demands for better service conditions. During such strikes, some patients die as a result of lack of medical attention. Government sometimes meets the demand of the health workers halfway, or to the extent if possible. Sometimes, some of the medical professionals leave the country in search of better conditions elsewhere. This affects the country adversely. But for a country to meet its healthcare goals, the healthcare professionals in the system must be motivated to play their roles effectively. Health policies of countries all over the world cannot succeed without a full cooperation and involvement of highly motivated and dedicated healthcare professionals. It is for this reason that the Medical Excellence Award has been launched to encourage health professionals to stay in the country and offer their best to the people.
Majority of our people, all that they need is recognition. Just for them to be recognized. That we appreciate the work they are doing, we appreciate the conditions under which we work, and that it's not everything that is bad about the health sector and the workers there.
The Medical Excellence Awards was established in 2011 with the objective of encouraging people to pursue specialist healthcare courses. The awards was also designed to honor health workers of various categories who demonstrate special commitment to serving humanity. Nominations are received from both public and private health facilities in the 10 regions.
These awards is not just projecting health workers. It's also helping the patients to understand that they feel for you. So nurses, please, the more tolerant you become, that is how these awards can be able to be projected, and then we can get to the level that we want to.
The awards is governed by a council that looks at professional competence, qualifications, experience, attitude towards work, dedication, interpersonal relation, as well as morals and ethics. Maslock presented 10,000 Ghana cedis to support the awards.
And as the world looks forward to ending the HIV and AIDS pandemic by 2030, the Managing Director of Stanbic Bank, Mr. Alhassan Andani, has called for structures of the Ghana AIDS Commission to be transformed into a National Pandemic Commission. In an interview with GBC24, Mr. Andani further explained that Ghana cannot afford to stand aloof only to be hit by an epidemic without the necessary response systems and funding in place. The move is aimed at preventing a repeat of the tens of thousands of lives that were lost to epidemics across the continent, especially in the last decade. A report by Sarah Ofori.
Global response to the outbreak of diseases has often been very slow, and this has resulted in the loss of lives. This was evident in the recent outbreak of Ebola in 3 West African states and the prevailing yellow fever in Angola. The Ebola, for instance, crippled economies and claimed a lot of human lives. The situation exposed the weak and, in some cases, poorly equipped health systems of these countries. Unlike HIV/AIDS, which elicited a swift global response and consistent funding, the fight against Ebola, Zika virus, Lassa fever, yellow fever, among others, has suffered donor fatigue. For the Managing Director of Stanbic Bank, the above-mentioned examples are enough for Ghana to step up its preparedness against any epidemic.
As we are looking to ending HIV by 2030, we should actually be looking to transform the structures of HIV or the AIDS Commission into a National Pandemic Commission and make sure that we have funds ready. Because in the case of HIV, we had funds coming from global sources, but most of these have a nucleus. It could be in Ghana. As I said, we have Zika in Brazil, we have Ebola, which was quite close next door. And if we don't have our own fund to respond to this, we're in trouble. You don't want people to be dying whilst you are waiting for global agencies to bring you money.
Meanwhile, the Ghana AIDS Commission, with its strategic partnership and programs, is bent on achieving an end to the pandemic 10 years ahead of the Agenda 2030.
As a country, we are bent on identifying those who are HIV positive as quickly as possible. Quickly as possible. The key word is acceleration. If we have the resources, the commodities, we're starting from a disadvantage point in that we don't have 6 million test kits in our central medical stores. But that is what we need to do to accelerate action. We want to, instead of spreading out all the tests we have to do over 5 years, we're saying we want to do many more in the first 3 years of the 5-year period.
The Minister of State in charge of private sector development, Mr. Rashid Pelpo, emphasized the need for private sector intervention, saying government would give tax rebates to companies that support such humanitarian efforts.
We no longer have the support coming from UNAIDS and World Bank and other bodies that used to help. And it's left onto us, Ghanaians ourselves, to tackle the problem. So Ghanaians through the public payers and Ghanaians through the private sector, those who contribute to the HIV fight will have tax rebates, we will have tax forgiveness to the amount they have put in there.
According to the WHO, epidemic and pandemic-prone diseases threaten public health security. Ignoring this warning, therefore, comes with a huge price. Sarah Ofori, GBC24, Accra.
That's all in this segment tonight, brought to you by FPAC, blows your pain away. Stay tuned.
National news. Nigeria's Trade Union Federation has said it will resist the 66% rise in petrol prices as fuel subsidies are removed. The government announced the increase in a bid to ease crippling fuel shortages. The Nigeria Labour Congress said the rise from 86.5 naira a litre to 145 naira per litre should be reversed. In 2012, the government was forced to back down on a similar price rise after nationwide protest. The Petroleum Ministry said in a statement that the subsidy, which has kept the price low, cost the government $2.7 million a day, and there is no provision for it in the recently approved budget for this year. Despite being one of Africa's largest oil producers, Nigeria has to import fuel to meet demand as its refineries are dilapidated. The price rise is expected to stabilize the market and end the fuel scarcity. Sports is next.
Good evening, let's update ourselves from happenings in the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. The new executives of the Ghana League Clubs Association, GALCA, have been sworn into office. The members of the association voted and elected new officers to steer the affairs for the next 4 years. A Supreme Court Judge, Justice Enimiebwa, sworn in the members. Chairman Kujofianu said they were in to serve and not to be served.
We plan the total transformation of the GALCA Secretariat into a well-equipped one, which shall be headed by a competent and highly motivated administrative manager. It is our wish to restore the confidence of our members in the association, with emphasis on strengthening the revenue source of GALCA. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we also plan to offer opportunities to members right from the regions through Division 1 to the Premier Division. Featuring highly on our agenda, among others, is to rope in our women football clubs to GALCA to bring parity. There are also plans to add up to our stock of competitions and other competitions which we plan to bring on board will comprise of the lower divisions. Therefore, plans are afoot to engage the GFA to allow GALCA to revive the annual gala competition.
In the English Premiership, Liverpool kept their hopes of a top 6 league finish alive with a 1-1 draw at Chelsea, and elsewhere bottom side Sunderland secured a 3-0 victory over Everton to move away from relegation. In NBA, the Golden State Warriors have advanced to the Western Conference Finals after securing a 4-1 series lead over Portland. Toronto edged past the Miami Heat 99-91 to lead the series at 3-2. That's all for sports.
It's time for the showbiz segment. It is always good to know how far you have come when you look back. And on our Throwback Thursday, we take a look at some past and present videos of some Ghanaian female gospel musicians.